Imagine you're sitting in a room filled with people you know well, friends, co-workers, family. Everyone is talking, laughing, moving through their ordinary routines. But then, as your eyes travel across the faces, you pause. There is someone whose presence feels strangely out of place. They haven't said anything harmful. They haven't done anything dramatic. Yet something in the atmosphere changes the moment they enter. It's subtle, almost invisible, like a shift in the air that only your heart can feel. Most people around you won't notice anything. They continue speaking, unaware of the small imbalance that has just entered the space. But you notice it, not with your mind at first, but with something far deeper. Ibn Arabi taught that the first warning of spiritual danger is not seen with the eyes, but felt with the soul. And you feel it now, a disturbance that has no clear explanation, a quiet discomfort that rises from a place you can't point to. This is the beginning of the first sign. Some people carry a presence that unsettles the heart long before their actions reveal anything. A slight heaviness enters the room with them. Their smile doesn't warm you. It cools you. Their words seem polite, yet your intuition stiffens before the sound even forms. You catch yourself tensing your shoulders or taking a deeper breath without knowing why. Your heart is responding to a truth your mind hasn't yet understood. Ibn Arabi called this the disturbance of the heart's natural harmony. He said that the soul is created with a built-in compass, a silent awareness that reacts to the spiritual state of others. Most people ignore this gift. They explain away their discomfort, convincing themselves that they're overthinking, being dramatic, or imagining things. But if your soul is awake, you know better. That first wave of uneasiness is not a coincidence. It's a message. This is sign number 1, the disturbance of presence. Not the loud kind, not the obvious kind, but the kind you feel before anything visible happens. You may have met someone like this before, someone who drains your energy without lifting a finger. You're not sure why conversations with them feel heavy or why silence becomes uncomfortable when they stand too close. You sense something is off, but you can't find any reason to justify the feeling. That is the nature of the first sign. It never arrives as proof. It arrives as intuition. And intuition, in the world of the soul, is the earliest form of protection. Think about the moments when you walked away from someone and felt strangely tired, mentally crowded, or spiritually pulled downward. Think about the times you sensed an invisible tension, like your heart stepped back even as your body moved forward. These are not random reactions. They are subtle defenses. They are reminders that the soul can detect what the eyes cannot yet see. Ibn Arabi said, "The heart reads the unseen long before the mind understands the seen." Meaning, before someone's true nature reveals itself through actions, the heart quietly feels it. And so you begin to notice the small shift in a person's tone, the smile that feels too calculated, the attention that feels too heavy, the presence that feels too cold. You try to ignore it at first. You tell yourself you're being unfair or too sensitive. But your soul knows something your rational mind is afraid to admit. Some people carry an inner darkness that does not announce itself. It reveals itself only through the imbalance it brings to your spirit. So ask yourself, have you ever felt this sudden discomfort around someone without knowing why? Have you ever noticed a subtle tension tightening inside you when a particular person walked into the room? Have you ever sensed a shadow behind someone's smile even before their actions confirmed anything? This is where the journey begins. The first sign, the quiet awakening. The moment your soul whispers, "Be aware." And once that whisper begins, it becomes impossible to unhear it. There are moments in life when someone speaks to you and the words seem perfectly harmless. Their tone is gentle, their expression calm, their message wrapped in politeness. But as you listen, something inside you tightens. You can't explain why. Their words should comfort you, yet somehow they unsettle you instead. This is how the second sign appears. Quietly, softly, hidden behind conversations so ordinary that most people never think twice about them. You're sitting with someone, maybe a colleague, maybe a friend, maybe a relative, and they offer you advice. It sounds supportive on the surface. They say, "I'm just looking out for you," or "I want the best for you," or "I'm only being honest." But as their voice settles into your heart, you feel something else beneath it. A tone, a vibration, a subtle intention that doesn't match the words. Ibn Arabi said, "Your soul knows the meaning behind every word, even when the tongue disguises it." It means you can hear truth even when someone pretends. You can sense sincerity even when someone hides it. And you can feel danger even when someone smiles. This is sign number 2, poisoned words wrapped in kindness. Harmful people rarely begin with insults or cruelty. That would be too obvious, too easy to identify. Instead, they use a quieter method. They speak in riddles of care, concern, or guidance. Words that appear soft but carry a quiet sting, a quiet doubt, a quiet cut, meant to weaken your confidence. Imagine someone telling you, "I'm happy for you," but don't let it get to your head. "You're doing well, but I don't think you're ready for more." "You're strong, but try not to be too emotional." None of these sentences look harmful at first glance, but each one carries a hidden blade. Each one makes you question yourself, and each one reveals a shadow disguised as care. This is how manipulation begins, not with shouting, but with whispers, not with aggression, but with concern, not with insults, but with subtle, deliberate doubt. Your heart recognizes this long before your mind does. You walk away from the conversation feeling smaller, unsure of yourself, slightly wounded without knowing why. And as you replay the words in your head, you notice something strange. The person didn't actually encourage you. They softened you. They didn't support you. They weakened you. That is the true intention behind poisoned kindness. Ibn Arabi taught that every word carries a trace of the heart that speaks it. You cannot fake the energy behind speech. The tongue lies, the face lies, even the mind lies, but the heart cannot hide its intention, and your soul senses that intention immediately. So pay attention to the moments when simple conversations leave you confused, uneasy, or self-doubting. Pay attention to the people who call their criticism honesty, their control concern, their negativity advice. Pay attention to how you feel after speaking with them, because evil rarely appears in the obvious act. It often speaks through the courteous one. Perhaps you've had this experience. Someone praises you, yet you walk away feeling belittled. Someone gives advice, yet you feel strangely controlled. Someone offers support, yet your confidence dims the moment they finish speaking. These are not coincidences. They are not misunderstandings. They are not your imagination. They are signs. Every harmful person hides their blade behind their words. They learn how to twist your feelings without raising their voice. They learn how to discourage you while sounding helpful. They learn how to dim your light while pretending to care about your brightness. And your soul, wise and ancient, feels it every time. So ask yourself, have you ever heard a sentence that was supposed to comfort you, yet somehow it made you weaker? Have you ever been praised in a way that felt like an insult in disguise? Have you ever doubted yourself after a conversation that was meant to help you? That doubt is not a flaw. It is the second sign, the message behind the message, the subtle truth that your soul interprets long before your mind catches up. And once you begin to notice these hidden intentions, the illusion begins to fall away. There comes a moment with certain people when you begin to realize that the problem is no longer what they say to you. It's what their words do to you. At first, it feels subtle. You share a thought and they dismiss it. You express a feeling and they call it exaggeration. You try to explain yourself and somehow you end up apologizing instead. Slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, they begin to shift the way you see yourself. This is sign number 3. They make you doubt your own judgment. It doesn't happen in a single moment of conflict. It happens in hundreds of tiny interactions, like drops of water carving their way through stone. You mention something that bothered you, and they respond, "You're overthinking." You express a concern, and they say, "That's not what happened." You bring up something that hurts you, and they insist, "You're imagining things." And so, without realizing it, you begin to question your memory, your perception, your intuition, the compass your soul has relied on since the beginning. Ibn Arabi taught that the one who distorts your perception steals you from yourself, not your time, not your energy, but your inner truth, the foundation your heart stands upon. This kind of harm is quiet. There are no raised voices, no dramatic scenes, no clear acts of cruelty. But the effect is deep. The more you try to understand what's happening, the more confused you feel. The more you try to find clarity, the more lost you become. It's as if your inner compass is being turned without your permission. Some harmful people do not overpower you with strength. They weaken you with uncertainty. They mix truths with lies, kindness with criticism, empathy with manipulation. They create just enough doubt to keep you off balance. They keep you questioning yourself, so you never question them. And then comes sign number 4. They twist your mistakes into weapons. Everyone makes mistakes. That is part of being human. But an evil-hearted person does not forgive your mistakes. They store them. They study them. They wait for the right moment to use them against you. If you slip, they turn your stumble into proof that you're the problem. If you apologize, they turn your apology into evidence that you were wrong all along. If you open up about your vulnerabilities, they keep those confessions like arrows in a quiver. Ibn Arabi wrote, "Beware of the one who holds your weakness in his memory, for he intends to control, not to understand." This is one of the most dangerous forms of harm because it doesn't attack your outer life. It attacks your inner world. It shifts the very ground you walk upon. Your confidence becomes unstable. Your decisions feel uncertain. You feel like you're walking through a maze built by someone else. Perhaps you've met someone who always finds a way to make you doubt your own reality. You tell them something felt harmful, and they insist it didn't happen. You share a memory, and they tell you it's wrong. You express pain, and they convince you it's your fault for feeling it. Bit by bit, your inner compass, the guidance your soul has trusted all your life, begins to falter. But here is the hidden truth. Your soul never stops sending signals, even when your mind is confused, even when your emotions are tangled, even when your confidence feels unstable. Deep inside, something keeps whispering, something is not right. Ibn Arabi said, "The heart that knows itself cannot be misled," meaning, no matter how much confusion surrounds you, your inner truth still exists beneath the noise. So ask yourself, have you ever walked away from someone feeling wrong about yourself without knowing why? Have you ever apologized for things you didn't even believe were mistakes? Have you ever doubted your own clarity because someone kept rearranging the truth in front of you? This is not weakness. This is not a lack of intelligence. This is not a flaw. This is a sign that someone is trying to reshape your reality in order to control it. A sign that your soul is resisting even as your mind struggles. A sign that awareness is beginning to rise. And once your awareness begins to rise, manipulation loses its power. There are people who don't need to raise their voice or show anger to harm you. They don't strike you with words or actions. They don't argue, shout, or confront. Instead, their presence alone weakens you, quietly, steadily, invisibly. You may not even notice it happening at first, but after being around them, something inside you feels dimmer. This is sign number 5. You always feel drained around them, not tired from work, not tired from a long day, but tired from them. It's the kind of exhaustion that arrives without a clear reason, a heaviness that settles in your chest, a fog that clouds your mind, a strange emptiness that wasn't there before. You speak with them for a few minutes, and your clarity disappears. You sit beside them, and your energy slowly sinks. Ibn Arabi wrote that the soul feels the weight of another before the mind understands its source. This is why you can leave certain people feeling nourished, uplifted, and calm, while others make you feel drained, smaller, or strangely unsettled, even if no conflict occurred. Some hearts give, some hearts take, some hearts shine, some hearts dim the light around them, and some hearts, without speaking a single harsh word, carry a shadow that quietly pulls from your spirit. These individuals operate quietly. They don't create chaos with noise. They create it with energy. They drain your emotional strength, your mental clarity, your spiritual stability. They are like a cold wind that enters through a small crack, gentle at first, then chilling before you realize what's happening. Then comes sign number 6. They thrive on chaos, conflict, and confusion. This doesn't mean they create dramatic scenes. In fact, many harmful people are subtle in how they stir disorder. They might sow small doubts between people. They might whisper negativity disguised as honesty. They might add tension to peaceful conversations or introduce uncertainty into situations that were previously stable. They don't calm storms. They bring them. And when life is peaceful, they find a way to disturb the harmony, not always intentionally, but naturally, because inner chaos seeks outer chaos. They need conflict to feel powerful. They need confusion to stay in control. They need emotional instability in others to feed their own sense of importance. Ibn Arabi said, "A heart in darkness spreads its night wherever it stands," meaning those who lack inner balance often disturb the balance of others without even realizing it. You've probably experienced this without having a name for it. You spend time with someone, and afterward you feel as if a storm passed through your chest. You try to think clearly, but your thoughts feel scattered. You try to rest, but your soul feels unsettled. You try to move on with your day, but something heavy follows you. This is not coincidence. This is not randomness. This is not just a bad mood. This is energy. Everyone carries a spiritual atmosphere within them, a field shaped by their intentions, emotions, and inner state. Some people carry peace. Some carry confusion. Some carry emptiness. And some carry a darkness that slowly takes from those around them. Harmful people rarely appear as villains. More often, they appear as someone who is always dealing with something, someone who just needs support, someone who doesn't mean any harm. But the effect they leave on your spirit tells a different story. Pay attention to how your soul responds after you leave their presence. Do you feel heavier, more anxious, more confused, less connected to yourself? These are not feelings you invent. These are messages from the soul. Ibn Arabi taught that your inner state after meeting someone is often the clearest truth about who they are. If you consistently walk away feeling spiritually drained, you are not imagining the shadow, you are perceiving it. So ask yourself gently, who in your life brings calm into the room, and who brings confusion without speaking a word? Who leaves you feeling nourished, and who leaves you feeling emptied? Your soul always knows the difference, even when your mind tries to ignore it. And once you begin to honor that inner knowing, the shadows that once drained you begin to lose their quiet hold. There is a moment in every journey of awareness when words stop mattering. A person can speak beautifully, offer kind phrases, and present themselves with charm. Yet their actions reveal something entirely different. If you watch closely, patterns begin to emerge, not dramatic ones, not loud ones, but quiet traces of a shadow they leave behind. This is where the next sign appears. Sign number 7, their actions never match their words. At first, this contradiction is so subtle, you don't even notice it. They promise kindness, but behave with coldness. They speak of loyalty, but disappear when you need them most. They claim sincerity, but act with calculation. On the surface, their words build trust, but underneath, their behavior gently erodes it. Imagine someone who tells you, "You can always count on me," yet avoids you the moment responsibility appears. Picture a friend who praises honesty but hides their intentions. Think of a person who talks about compassion yet shows none to those who cannot benefit them. Ibn Arabi taught, the tongue speaks, but the heart acts, meaning a person's real nature is never what they say. It is what they do when they are unobserved, unchallenged, and unpraised. The soul is sensitive to this mismatch. It feels the imbalance. It notices how the person behaves when there is no reward for goodness. It observes how they treat those they don't need to impress, the waiter, the cleaner, the stranger who asks for help. The smallest actions reveal the largest truths, and then comes the deeper shadow. Sign number 8. They have no empathy for the harm they cause. This is not about people who make mistakes. Everyone does. Humans fail, lose patience, say things they regret. That is normal, that is human, that is forgivable. What matters is the heart that follows the mistake, the remorse, the reflection, the willingness to grow. But some people feel none of this. When they hurt you, they don't pause. When they wound your feelings, they don't soften. When their actions bring you pain, they don't reflect. They simply continue, not because they are unaware, but because they do not care. Ibn Arabi said, "A heart that feels no consequence walks in its own shadow. Such a heart cannot see the light in others because it refuses to see the darkness in itself. It justifies, minimizes, deflects. If you confront them gently, they turn the conversation against you. If you express hurt, they accuse you of being sensitive. If you ask for understanding, they respond with indifference. And sometimes their lack of empathy appears in the smallest moments. A dismissive glance, a cold reaction to your pain, a smile when you're struggling, a silence when you're breaking. You may watch them hurt someone else and notice no shift in their face, no discomfort, no hesitation, no recognition of the harm they just caused. This absence of empathy is the deepest shadow of all. It is in these quiet observations that your soul begins to understand the truth. Not through their speeches, not through their promises, not through their explanations, but through the way they act when they think no one is truly paying attention. Perhaps you once trusted someone whose charm blinded you. Perhaps you excused their behavior because their words seemed convincing. Perhaps you convinced yourself they meant well even when their actions consistently proved otherwise. But your soul kept witnessing the truth, every broken promise, every inconsistency, every moment of coldness, every dismissal of your feelings, every time they saw your pain and felt nothing. These experiences are not accidents. They are not misunderstandings. They are not flaws in your perception. They are signs. Signs that the person in front of you carries a darkness they refuse to confront. Signs that their shadow is not temporary. It is habitual. Signs that their actions reveal a heart that does not recognize the impact of its own harm. So ask yourself, whose words have you trusted more than their actions? Who has shown you their truth even when their voice tried to hide it? Your soul does not judge. It simply recognizes. And once you begin to see these shadows clearly, you can no longer pretend they are not there. There comes a point on this journey where the signs stop being about the other person and begin revealing something far more important. You, your inner world, your sensitivity, your awakening. Because long before you understand someone's true nature with your mind, your soul has already responded. Every feeling you've ignored, every discomfort you pushed aside, every instinct you tried to explain away, all of it was your spirit trying to speak to you. Ibn Arabi taught that the soul is the first witness to truth. It sees what the eyes overlook. It hears what the ears dismiss. It recognizes what the mind cannot yet process. When you encounter someone harmful, someone whose presence disturbs you, whose words confuse you, whose actions harm you, your soul reacts before you even understand why. Not with dramatic warnings, but with small movements inside you. A tightening, a heaviness, a wave of unease, a pull to step back. And this inner reaction is not fear. It is wisdom. Everything you felt in the earlier signs, the disturbance of presence, the hidden intent behind words, the manipulation, the draining energy, the shadow behind their actions, all of it gathers here in the quiet intelligence of your soul. Your soul does not accuse. Your soul does not hate. Your soul does not seek revenge. It simply recognizes when someone is unsafe. Think of the moments you walked away from a conversation and felt a strange confusion clouding your heart. Think of the days when you suddenly felt heavy after being around someone. Think of the nights when something inside you whispered, "This isn't right," even though you couldn't explain it. These whispers are not weakness. They are not sensitivity. They are not overthinking. They are guidance. Ibn Arabi said, "When the heart becomes unsettled, it is not an emotion. It is a message." Your soul is like a lamp placed in a dark corridor. It flickers when shadows pass by. It brightens when truth approaches. It dims when something dangerous draws near. The disturbances you felt were not the signs of an evil person alone. They were signs of your soul awakening to truth. Awareness is protection. Awareness is guidance. Awareness is the first form of spiritual strength. You may have experienced moments where your mind tried to override your intuition. They didn't mean it like that. Maybe I'm being sensitive. Maybe I misunderstood. But notice something. Even when your mind creates excuses, your soul refuses to stay silent. It keeps sending reminders until you listen. A subtle discomfort, a sudden tiredness, a loss of clarity, a desire to step away, a heaviness you cannot explain. These are not coincidences. They are the language of the spirit. Your mind analyzes behavior. Your soul reads intention. This is why you often feel the truth before you can articulate it. This is why something feels off even when everything looks normal. This is why your inner balance shifts long before the person reveals themselves. And here lies the deeper wisdom. The signs are not just about recognizing evil. They are about recognizing yourself. You are awakening. Your perception is sharpening. Your heart is learning to differentiate light from shadow, sincerity from manipulation, peace from disturbance. Ibn Arabi taught, the awakened soul is its own guardian, meaning once you begin to see, your soul naturally protects you. It guides you to distance yourself from harmful people, not out of fear, but out of alignment. So ask yourself now, what has your soul been trying to tell you that your mind has not yet accepted? Which feelings have you dismissed that were actually warnings? When have you felt the truth before you could explain it? These reflections are not about blaming others. They are about understanding your own inner clarity. Because the greatest sign is not the darkness of another person. It is the light inside you that responds to it. And once your inner light recognizes a shadow, you can no longer be misled by it. By the time you begin to notice these signs and the disturbance, the hidden intent, the manipulation, the draining presence, the shadow behind their actions, something profound has already happened inside you. You are not simply recognizing another person's darkness. You are awakening to your own light. Awareness isn't a weapon. It isn't aggression. It isn't judgment. Awareness is clarity. Awareness is inner strength. Awareness is the quiet doorway through which the soul walks into freedom. Ibn Arabi taught that the one who knows the nature of shadows does not fear them, meaning, once you can see a harmful person clearly, they no longer have the power to shape your inner world. Darkness only manipulates when you mistake it for light. It only confuses you when you believe it's false warmth. It only drains you when you invite it into the places meant for your peace. But the moment you recognize what stands in front of you, everything changes. You stop explaining away the signs. You stop doubting your intuition. You stop shrinking yourself to maintain harmony with someone who thrives on your imbalance. You no longer fear losing them. You fear losing yourself. And that shift is the true beginning of spiritual empowerment. Many people believe that encountering harmful individuals is a sign of misfortune, but Sufi wisdom teaches the opposite. You meet every person for a reason, even the difficult ones, especially the difficult ones. Some people come into your life to open your heart. Some come to teach you patience. Some come to awaken your strength. And some come to reveal the parts of yourself you have forgotten. Your boundaries, your intuition, your inner dignity. The presence of a harmful person is not a punishment. It is a mirror showing where your soul is ready to grow. A mirror revealing where your limits have been ignored. A mirror reminding you of the wisdom you already carry within you. Ibn Arabi said, "The world is a teacher, and every soul you meet holds a lesson for your own." So, what lesson does the harmful person teach? Not fear, not bitterness, not revenge. They teach awareness. They teach discernment. They teach the protection that comes from recognizing your own worth. When you encounter someone who manipulates you, it awakens your need for clarity. When someone drains you, it awakens your need for boundaries. When someone twists your truth, it awakens your need to trust your own perception. And when someone carries a shadow, it awakens your need to return to your own light. This is why, in Sufi tradition, darkness is never the end of the story. It is the beginning of vision. You are not asked to fight these people. You are not asked to fix them. You are not asked to carry their heaviness or heal their shadows. You are simply asked to see truth as it is, to see yourself as you are, to see the difference between love and harm, between sincerity and manipulation, between light and shadow. And once you see, fear dissolves, confusion fades, the darkness loses its ability to imitate light. You stand calmly, steadily, quietly, like a lamp that continues to shine no matter how deep the night becomes. So ask yourself now, who have you been giving your light to without noticing how dim you've become? What boundaries has your soul been waiting for you to set? Which part of you is finally ready to rise? These questions are not for judgment. They are for awakening. Your journey does not end by identifying evil. It continues by strengthening the goodness within you. Because when your awareness grows, when your soul becomes steady, when your heart returns to its own balance, no person, no shadow, no manipulation can pull you away from your path. Ibn Arabi taught that the heart that knows itself becomes unshakable. And this is where your strength begins, in seeing clearly, walking calmly, and trusting the light that rises from within. As you move forward from these 8 signs, remember something important. The purpose of seeing darkness is never to live in fear of it. It is to recognize the truth of your own light. Your soul has always known what your mind sometimes struggles to accept. And every uneasy moment, every quiet warning, every subtle disturbance was simply guiding you back to your inner clarity. So before you leave this video, pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever sensed a small warning in someone's behavior? A feeling your heart understood long before your mind could explain it? Reflect on that. Sometimes the truth comes not in loud revelations, but in the softest signals. If this message brought clarity to your journey, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Voice of Sufism, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new reflection. Your engagement truly helps this channel reach others who may need these teachings. And I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Your story may be the insight another soul needs to read today. When you're ready, continue this path. The videos appearing on your screen will take you deeper into awareness, intuition, and the hidden meanings behind the signs life shows you. Until then, stay awake, stay gentle, stay connected to the light within you.